Hey everybody, welcome back to the workshop. Today's project is a little bit unique. Instead of an airplane, I'm going to be building an airplane stand. More specifically, I'm building the Pro Airplane Stand from Foam-Flite. I have the medium version, which they say is good to hold airplanes from 60 to 120 size. And I'm really hoping to be able to use that here on my workbench and maybe at the field as well. Foam-Flite sells a pre-assembled version of this stand, but what I have here is the kit, which includes a few sheets of machine-cut plywood. So I'm going to get started by removing all of these parts and then giving them a quick sanding. As you can see, I've now removed all of the parts from the plywood sheets. The online manual for this stand suggests using a utility knife to cut through the tabs that hold the parts in place. That's how I started out, and it works okay. But I found that things moved much quicker when I switched to using a pair of sharp side cutters. Now, once I had the parts separated, I was able to remove any remnants of the tab using a sanding wheel and my Dremel tool. I also invested some extra time with sandpaper, breaking the edges and trying to make the surface as smooth as I could. And that's because my next step is to add a wood stain to all of these parts. Now, staining the parts is definitely not mandatory, but I think that the stain will help protect the wood and also make the finished stand look a little bit better. And here is the completed stand. Now, I'll admit that I'm still on the fence about the green stain that I used, but that's not the stand's fault. And I'm really happy with the functionality of the completed unit. You probably noticed during the build sequence that there are quite a few parts that go into building this thing. Well, that's because there's a lot of adjustability in the finished stand. I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. You can change the length and angle of these main arms. Likewise, you can change the height and angle of these cradles. But one of the more surprising adjustments to me is that the entire base can be tilted forward or back. Now, all of these different adjustments allow you to orient your model just so that you can accommodate whatever you're working on at the time. Despite all of the articulating joints, the stand is sturdy and stable, even when you've got a larger size model in the cradle. Out of the box, the cradle parts are bare plywood. I added strips of foam to give it a softer grip on my models. Now the foam I used is called EVA foam, and that's the squishy stuff that you can buy at the craft store. Or you could use 1/2-inch pipe insulation, which slips right over the plywood. The vertical arms of the cradles have notches molded into them. This allows you to stretch a rubber band over your model to hold it more securely to the stand. You'll see similar notches on the base plates of the stand. So if you've got this stand out at the flying field, you can actually use tent stakes to anchor your stand to the ground. You've already seen that the Medium Pro stand works well with larger models, but it also accommodates a lot of my park flyers. Now, with that being said, if most of your fleet is on the smaller side, you may want to consider one of the smaller options offered by Foam-Flite. This is the economy stand, which offers a lot of the same adjustments as the Pro stand, but is more suited to these smaller airplanes. Well, there you have it. This concludes my overview of these model airplane stands from Foam-Flite. I'm already finding out that their adjustability makes them super adaptable and really handy to have in the workshop. So don't be surprised if you see them in use in upcoming videos. Also, be sure to check out my written review of the Medium Pro stand in Model Aviation magazine. Thanks for watching.